where brevity is paramount. Allegedly.
Hello and welcome to episode 28 of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name is Chet Roivers. With me as usual is John Denton.
What up?
Over the next 40 minutes or so, John and I are going to take it in turns to go through the 10 games we've played over the course of the past week, and we're going to go from 10 to 1. Number 1s are the games we've been playing the most, 10 the least. You know the deal, John. Number 10.
And my number 10's a bit of a cop-out. It's Batters, which I'd all primed and was ready to play Armored Kill. Today we're recording a Tuesday. And 183 meg download, which took an hour, 1.4 gig download, which took about 45 minutes, and then just as when I think I'm going to get in with about half an hour to spare to get one game in, 1.56 gig download. Gutted. So it's not really a number 10, but you know, what can I do? Because it was literally pre-pod. So
True that.
Yeah, sorry, but I'm sure you'll have plenty to say on it later.
I will. Okay, my number 10 is Silent Hill Downpour. I only played it for a few minutes. I was at a friend's house and he's just spent an obscene amount of money on a 3D home cinema system, and he was banging on about how great it looks in 3D. Hey?
I just said, oh really?
Oh right, yeah. And an obscene amount of money. It's huge. It's like a 50-inch screen. But he was just banging on about how great the 3D gaming was. So I played sort of 5-10 minutes of Silent Hill Downpour. I didn't really notice it. It was so subtle that I couldn't notice until I put the glasses on, and he was like, "That's why it's so great. You get dragged more into it because it's so subtle." And I was like, "I don't really see it." And then you start to notice little things start coming out at you a little bit. You know, it's fine. It's not worth... I mean, he was trying to justify the fact that he just spent a stupid amount of money.
Yeah.
But, it was interesting, I guess. It looked nice, whatever. The game's good, underrated, blah, blah.
Yeah, I still haven't played that game.
You should.
Well, I guess I will. I'd like to. Yeah, I'd like to. That's what I'll say.
Genuine.
3D... I mean, you and I listened to fucking Mark Como bang on about it for however long, 2 years or whatever it is. So even talking about it, I feel like I'm going over old ground. But in some games, I think it's way more beneficial with 3D than almost any film. Stuff like Mario 3D Land and seemingly first-party Nintendo stuff on the 3DS that isn't the new Mario. Not that I've played that. Actually has some functional and clever use for 3D, but everything else seems to be a bit superfluous.
It didn't make any sense to me. I was like, fine, that's nice. I'm glad you're digging it, but it's not something...
Did you have to wear glasses?
Yeah, and
I don't want to be doing that.
He was bragging about how subtle it was, and I was like, well, yeah, I suppose that's better than it being in your face for no reason. But yeah, I don't really understand it.
Yeah, although I mean, Prometheus was quite subtle. That was going back to films, and it kind of worked like that. But then again, I haven't seen the 2D print. I saw 2D Avengers, and that was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it was awesome.
Genuine.
Yeah. My number 9 is I've just written hard game down on my list. That game you talked about last week, the world's hardest game.
World's hardest game, yeah.
Yeah, world's hardest game. I downloaded it. It's pretty fun, isn't it? It's pretty hard.
Yeah.
Like a little WarioWare, not quite as charming, but it appeared to be free. And yeah, I thought it was fine. I played it for like 5-10 minutes.
Weren't you impressed by how good the controls were so effective, and it worked so well, considering it was a touchscreen game?
I was impressed. Maybe I was going in expecting to be impressed after having heard you talk about it, but I couldn't really handle that soundbite that plays when you lose. She said I wouldn't be able to. I can't hack stuff like that.
It's so dry.
Fuck off. So I couldn't handle that, especially as it's so difficult. But I can see why people like it. It's good.
Yeah, I agree. I take it you didn't buy the extra...
No, I didn't get through. Like you said, I couldn't get past like a certain level. I can't remember if this was right after last week's pod. But, yeah.
It's so weird that they expect you to buy levels, but it gets ridiculously hard straight away, so I can't imagine that anybody... I mean, if you like to punish yourself and you go to the trouble of completing it, then fair enough, but the majority of people, why would they bother?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good game. Worth a download.
It's good. It's free, isn't it? Yeah.
Indeed.
Check it out.
Right, my number 9 is Hero Academy on the iPhone.
You're still back on it?
No. Well, a friend of mine has started listening to the podcast, but he's listening to one episode every 6 years, so he's only on like episode 3 when we were still talking about it.
I kept banging on about Hero Academy. Yeah.
So he said, "Oh, I'll download it and we'll have a game." And I'm like, "Yeah, fuck it, go on." We played, 8-10 turns each, and he sent me a text saying, "This is rubbish. Should we just stop?" And I just said, "Yeah." And I still, there's still fundamental problems. I think there's systems there for the sake of it. I don't understand Hero Academy, and it should be a game that I love. But yeah, again, it still doesn't appeal.
It's a game that, considering how little money I paid for it and the amount of time that I enjoyed spending on it, I can't really say much bad about it. I could pick holes in it, maybe, if I spent more time with it, and maybe the balance isn't as good as I thought it was initially, or maybe I had a bit too much faith in developers when they kind of said that the initial team that you get are as strong as the DLC teams and things like that. But for what was essentially no money, the equivalent of in grander scheme of things. Yeah, I mean, I had great fun. I played like good 20, 30, 40 games on it or something.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I can't hate on him.
Genuine.
So that was your number 9, yeah. My number 8 is Tekken Tag Tournament 2 again. I think the embargo's up now, so we can talk about it in the official review capacity. It seems to be that all the scores out there on the internet seem to be united around the 8 mark, which is exactly, well, it's in fact what I gave it. And that seems to be bang on for me. I talked about it at length, really, in the last 2 episodes, which is probably something I shouldn't have done, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Very, very good. For me, the best Tekken. The tag mechanics are fun, but they don't spoil the game. And sometimes tag stuff confuses stuff for me and overcomplicates it. This doesn't seem to do it. Very funny as well. Very funny game. Yeah. Enjoyed it a lot.
It's my number 3, but I might as well just get it out of the way. Mm-hmm. At first it really wound me up because I haven't played a Tekken game. Well, I played the last one, but Tekken's such a specific thing. It's so different from all other fighting games that it took me a while to adapt to it. And I was properly raging about it. I was genuinely stressing out at first. But once I adapted, it was fine, and I think it is pretty great. I mean, I think that it plays to Tekken maniacs the most. It's it's fan service through and through.
Yeah, it's the greatest hits, I've called it in things I've written about it.
And I like the fact that they've cut all the extra stuff. They've cut that stupid single player sort of Streets of Rage style beat 'em up. And it's just fighting. Everything's fighting. It's got some of the old modes like time attack and all that stuff. But as the tutorial is really interesting. Did you do the whole thing?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I can't remember what it was called. Fight Lab, I think it was. Oh,
yeah, Fight Lab.
It's so difficult, but it tells you absolutely everything. So when you finally do it, you're like, I'm not going to get surprised by anybody. It's so good to be taught something that extensively that you're like, I know exactly what I'm doing. If I lose, I know why, and that's really effective. But it's very difficult, and it's really old school. The way that if you don't do a bit at the end of a chapter, it will boot you back, and you have to do everything again. It's like it's a throwback in how difficult it is. And I'm interested to see how many people who haven't played a Tekken game before would stick with it, because it is difficult, the tutorial. I
don't think people who haven't played Tekken games are going to start now. I just think I can't see kids picking it up, 12-year-old kids. I just don't see the appeal. I think it's for the people that have grown up with Tekken and still play fighting games. Yeah. I think that's who it's for.
I think fans of Tekken will be as thrilled by it as Mortal Kombat guys were about the reboot.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, very good point.
But then again, it is. I think it's worth if you want to put the time in and you are patient. I think newcomers can come to it. But I am interested to see if because it really does. It did feel quite oppressive. I persevered because I was reviewing it, but. It'd be interesting. The tag assault stuff's great where you join the combos. I mean, it's a staple of any kind of beat 'em up now, but it works really well. And I liked experimenting a bit and trying different characters whose combo worked best with who. But yeah, it's the best Tekken game I reckon since 3 because it went off on a bit of a 4 and 5 were and 6. Yeah, their heart wasn't in it, and that's why they threw in all those stupid extra things. But yeah, very good. If you're a Tekken fan, you will fucking love it.
Definitely. Yeah. Have you tried playing it online?
Briefly, yeah. I mean, the netcode looks fine.
Does it? Yeah.
I mean, I got my.
Because all the modes and the sort of surrounding stuff's really impressive.
What different modes were you? online.
Well, just you can. I think you can have clans, and it has a stat tracking service online. The WTF, I mentioned it last week, and they're just really going all out to do online fighting the way it should be done. I think, and fair play to them for that.
Yeah. But no, it's hard. Not very easy to recommend to newcomers. But yeah, if it's a great Tekken game for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, what was that?
That's my 8.
Okay, right. My number 8 is Avatar karting on the Xbox 360.
Right. Every time you say Avatar something, I keep thinking it's going to be little blue people from the fucking film.
This was requested to us via our Facebook page. Presumably because it's quite shit, but it's quite shit in quite a sort of ordinary way. It's the bare minimum of what you'd expect. It's set in a ghost town because it's very basic. You can see the technology is primitive, but the carts go around in a track. It's the way I thought about it is. It's like, think of Mario Kart, but there's no power-ups. There's a boost which you can't use in the free trial. But if you were babysitting a couple of 6-year-olds, it would entertain them for long enough. They'd get enough out of it, and that's who it's aimed at. It's not aimed at adults or anything. There's no frills. There's no online multiplayer or anything. It's just a very, very straightforward Mario Kart rip-off. So
if you're expecting 6-year-olds to come round.
Say, here, 80
get
points.
The free trial of Avatar karting.
Oh no, it's only 80 points. That's what I mean. If you bought it, you did. The carts handle like shit and stuff, but if kids are undemanding, and there seems to be a decent amount of content, so for what it is, it's hard to hate it too much.
It's good advice for babysitters out there.
There you go.
If you have any suggestions or games you think that we should play or you want to hear us talk about, God knows why you'd want to do that, but hit us up on Facebook. That's probably the best place to do it. Twitter's good too, but just chuck it on there and we'll probably play it because we're always hunting for stuff to fill our lists, and it's always interesting. Better if it's a free or very cheap game than a £40 game,
because we're very cheap.
Played most of the 40. Yeah, we're cheap as fuck.
Yeah.
So. Facebook. Just type in Chet and John. It's easy to find us. There's only us two on all of Facebook. Number 7 is for me WWE 13. Now you remember I used to be the hugest wrestling fan. You knew probably.
Yeah.
Kind of dwindled a lot in recent years. It got to the point where it wasn't fun anymore, and it was just rather stupid. Of course, not that it ever wasn't stupid. And there was probably a feeling that was exacerbated by the fact that the games weren't much fun either. They used to be great when I was sort of towards the end of me being in school 10, 12 years ago or so, and throughout early uni with the early SmackDown games. They were really good. We used to play till fucking 6 in the morning playing SmackDown 2, and then they just kind of never got any better and started to actually get gradually worse, to the point where a lot of the ones on 360 and PS3 have been pretty damn bad. But playing WWE 13 this week up at THQ, it was really, really good fun. I had a couple of cracking matches. It's still a little bit creaky here and there, and there are still some remnants of the SmackDown ropiness that probably aren't going to go away because of the yearly schedule and things like that. But in terms of one-on-one wrestling matches, back and forth action, exactly like a wrestling match should be. It's not really about combos and technique. It's about drama. Near pinfalls. Moves out of nowhere, exciting reversals, stuff like that. And we had a great match over 10 minutes that had loads of back and forth and ended with a really spectacular finish, and that was great fun. And the other part of the game is it has this Attitude Era mode, and the Attitude Era is around the time I was finishing school, and Stone Cold, The Rock, when it was kind of exciting and it had a bit of a buzz about it again. And so they've done this whole mode around that where you can go and replay all like the classic moments, and it's all done really well. If you're a wrestling fan like me, you'll get a kick out of it. And they've put in a lot of effort this year, and it's nice. I thought it was fun. I thought it was really fun.
Did you not play last year's game?
Yeah, I did.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. Last year's was the step back in the right direction, but this year's is definitely a lot better than last year's.
Do they still do one of my favourite things in the last one? I mean, that sort of the game where you walk around backstage and it spirals off into stories and stuff. That was quite fun for what it was. But I liked the fact that you can make your own cutscenes.
Yeah, that'll still be in there.
That's really fun.
There's stuff that's unannounced, I think, but they tend to do things like if they build a mode that big, they'll just iterate it year on year on year and not even change it that much. I'm sure that's in there. I mean, that's great. That doesn't really exist in any other game.
No, I loved the N64 wrestling games like No Mercy. We played that for God knows how many hours I played that for. But
True.
I didn't mind last year's, and I didn't mind the year before that either. But then again, I suppose I'm quite undemanding when it comes to wrestling games. I don't really think of the N64 ones as that.
Well, what frustrated me is because those N64 ones were so good for a wrestling fan, and someone who really appreciates how they've mathematically recreated what is a choreographed sport in a weird sort of way that, like I said, is less about fighting and more about drama. And those N64 games somehow captured that. Just one of those series that just seems to have a magic about them. And as time went on, I was constantly trying to get that, but with modern sensibilities, and it never really happened. But this one seems to maybe not quite as technically proficient as the old N64 games, which is a weird thing to say because if you look at it, it looks a million times more technically proficient. But it has that. It seems to have a real spirit about it, which I'm excited to play it. Which has been a long time. I could say that about a SmackDown game. Not that they're called SmackDown anymore, but
that was that. I'm glad they changed that title. That was silly.
Yeah, it needed to go.
Cool. Okay, right. My number 7 is Teddy Defender on the Xbox 360.
You play some shit, mate. Honestly,
I'm still working through that backlog of Xbox Live indie games.
You'll be there forever.
No, I'm not. I'm almost done. But Teddy Defender is actually. It starts off, and I was really encouraged. It's either inspired by Naughty Bear or.
Oh my god, that's a reason to just turn off straight away.
I didn't mind Naughty Bear, and the gameplay. I'm not in terms of gameplay. I mean that the guy who created it is clearly been created by one guy. He does the voiceover in a kind of mock kids TV style, cracking really lame jokes and stuff, and it's reasonably endearing. The actual concept is quite good as well. You're this bear who's protecting your owner, this kid, when he's asleep to stop him having nightmares, and the nightmares come in the form of bees and spiders and something else. I forget. They come in through the windows and the doors, and you, before each night, you place things to beat them. So there's these little toy soldiers. They shoot the spiders. There's these little toy aeroplanes. You place them and they zap the bees.
Oh, like a tower defense sort of deal.
But basically, yeah. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then you set up your stuff, and then you go and hide in the cupboard, and then you watch it all play out. The only problem is that as it goes on, it becomes clear that the guy didn't have a battle plan. So you start realising the currency, because you need to buy stuff with currency, all the stuff that you beat the dreams with, that isn't dished out very well, so you don't make enough, and then they all fly in, and it's like game over, he had nightmares, and then you start again, and it's clear that there's not any more environments, it's just that, probably with more and more bugs coming through. And then when it came up saying, do you want to pay, I was like, no. It's a good concept, good idea for a game, but I'd be very surprised if it was anything more than that.
Yeah, it's a cute idea, definitely.
But it's one of those games that it's an absolute gamble in the Xbox Live indie game space. I know you pay for it, and that would be the game. That's the end. I think that's what it was. I think that you just keep getting progressively harder, but because he hadn't worked out the currency, it looked like frustration incarnate, but very, very nicely presented, and for a one-man band, impressed, but I wouldn't shell out for it.
All right. Well, I look forward to more from your shitty back catalogue.
Not more. Well, a couple more,
Yeah, and you'll just get a bunch more.
Yeah.
You got problems. Number 6 for me is episode 3 of Walking Dead. It's the first time of the 3 episodes that I've not done it all in one chunk. We did the first maybe half an hour of it, and then we had to stop, and we haven't had a chance to go back to it yet. So it's shaping up. I'm intrigued by it. It's shaping up nicely. The early parts of those episodes always are a bit slow, aren't they? And then they crescendo and gather pace as they go on. So I'm looking forward to some high drama. At the moment, I'm just kind of walking around the little area where you are and talking to people. But a few technical little hitches aside, I just really like what they've done with the series over at Telltale. Everybody seems to be digging it, and I'm definitely part of that crew.
Yeah. No, it's my number 3.
Okay.
So I might as well speak. I won't say anything because I
said
finished
Tekken was your number 3.
Sorry, Tekken is my number 3. All my numbers are messed up. This is my number 4.
Right.
Walking Dead. I think. Oh man, I fucked up all the numbers, but never mind. I think it's terrific. People were very quick to say it's the best.
Have you done the whole thing?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People said that it's the best of the 3. And there are huge moments in it, to the extent where me and my girlfriend were like, we've got to go back and do this again to see how it plays out if we do.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of big things that happen in it. And I don't think it's any worse than any of the other 2, but I don't think it's like massively better. But it is. I am just overwhelmed by something that's that engaging. Films rarely get that engaging. Even games don't. But for me and my girlfriend to sit on the couch and just be like tearing our hair out because we don't want to have to make a certain decision. I mean, it's again, we've said before, the writing is immaculate. And it feels like the future. One day games will be this engaging and this easy to sort of rope people in. Because I've said it before, I think that I know for a fact that there's people who don't play video games who would sit with us and play that and be as thrilled with it as we are.
Definitely.
It's terrific. If you're not playing it, then you have to pick it up when it comes out on a disc.
Yeah, and you can download it from Steam and stuff, and just if you've got a Mac or anything, I mean, it won't need much of a powerhouse of a computer to run. And I think they're always doing it in the Steam sales. It's cheap, and it's not an expensive game at all. These 3 episodes have cost like fucking less than a tenner, haven't they, for all of them?
But as soon as one's up, straight away, don't even there's no question in my mind. It's getting bought. They are going to compile them when they're all done onto one disc, aren't they?
I don't know, to be honest.
I thought they might. I thought, because a lot of people have said to me, "Oh, I'll wait until they all come out." And I was like, "Okay, I think that's correct, but I'm not sure." But yeah, I think that's the idea. But anyway, it's also nice to have something that so many people I know are playing, because there's always a nice chat you can have about what you did and stuff. But yeah, it's terrific. I mean, fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I'll definitely finish it this week, and we'll be pumped for the next one, I'm sure. Awesome stuff from those guys. Awesome.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, right. That was your 7?
That was my 6.
Okay, sorry. It was okay. This list is
one job. We've got one job to do.
I know. Okay, my number 6 is Sleeping Dogs.
SD.
I'm still just going around doing side missions, but I've also gone back and trying to sort of gold star other missions.
Okay.
Every time I turn it off, I like it more and more. It does the action so well, and I enjoy the plot. I mean, honestly, every time I turn it off, I'm like, do you know what? That game it's so good. I rate it. So I really do rate it highly. There's a million ways that it's not as good as Grand Theft Auto when it's, at full pelt, but there are other ways, things that it does action 10 times better than GTA does.
It does.
And some of the big blockbuster, like the car chases and stuff, and it's just slick, man. I really, as I said, it's just every time my impression of it just goes up every time I play it.
But it does. I mean, we said this last week, I think, but now it does really appear to have done pretty well over here, because it's gone back to number 1, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So that that sort of sustainability does suggest that it's actually done really well, which is great news, because it's tough to release games in the summer, especially. New IP. Don't like that phrase, but you know what I mean. I haven't had time to go back to Sleeping Dogs since I finished. I finished all the story, did a bunch of side missions, did a bunch of other stuff, and talked about it before. But super impressed. So much fun. Everything's in service of having fun. Every single part of the game has been fine-tuned to have fun, and that's admirable. Yeah. And to do that within a story that is, while not sensible necessarily, is within the sort of realms of believability, as opposed to a Crackdown or a Saints Row 3. It's really impressive that they've managed to push it that far, but kind of keep it grounded in a weird sort of way,
and gift it with so much personality. That's something that it is. I mean, it's been labelled as a GTA clone, and it is a GTA clone, but it never feels like one. You don't really feel like you're playing something.
It doesn't feel like it's trying to be GTA, does it? It just feels like, this is what I wrote about in the review, and I've said it in the past. It feels like this is the genre, and I'm going to be part of that genre. Like a good genre movie, a good action movie. It's not trying to be, True Lies. I don't know why that came into my head, but it's just its own thing within that template.
Yeah, I hope the creators get to go back to it, and I hope it does. It is as successful as it appears to have been, because it
is looking that way.
Yeah, that's good. Chuffed for it.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, damn good game. It's me, isn't it? My number 5 is Mark of the Ninja, or Mark of the Ninja, as I like to call it. Pathetically, I've only done the trial, which is sizable, but really, really impressed. Really impressed. It's so slick, so nice. If you haven't played it, you play as a little ninja, and it's a stealth game ostensibly. So you move through 2D environments. The way you can move is really fluid. You can kind of quickly grapple onto things in the environment or climb walls. It uses a light and dark mechanic that there's never any question whether or not you can be seen or not. Like, if you're in the dark, you're in the dark and you can't be seen. And it's all about dropping down, taking out the enemy without being heard or seen. You stash them up. You can mess up your executions. When you jump down, you get a little... It's not even a QTE. It's just like the button and the direction. But if you press the direction wrong, you do like a messy kill, and it's noisier. If you do it right, you get like a nice little quick cutscene thing that is slicing a guy's head off. That really nice 2D visual style. That's the guys that did Shank and Shank 2, and they, that really bold style kind of carries over to here. It seems like it's got a bit more going on than those games. I like those games, but they kind of lost their way about halfway through, both of them, when it kind of half ran out of ideas, half got a bit too hard, and you just kind of go, okay, I've seen what you're doing, Shank. And I guess that's my worry of Mark of the Ninja as well, for paying, because it's 1,200 points. It seems to be the norm now.
Yeah.
And I'm slightly worried about putting down that cash, because I felt like in that first level it kind of showed me everything that it's going to do. And it might not be the case. It may go on and have loads of new ideas and new tricks, and I hope it does, because I am tempted to go back and put the money down. But yeah, that is a concern. But in terms of quality and style, it's really, really something.
Yeah. That sounds. I mean, I've read so much about it, but I haven't even tried the trial. I will do. But the reviews it's been getting, it seems like...
Yeah, it's been getting some big reviews.
Yeah.
I always get a little bit wary about really stylish 2D games in reviews, because I do think some people do get carried away. So I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just like a bit wary of them. I've probably been guilty of it myself in the past, but this does seem so far like it could well warrant some of those big scores that are coming out there. And I tell you what, when I was a kid, all I cared about, I didn't have video games until I was 8 or 9, but I used to play them at other kids' houses as you do when you're a little kid. And all I thought about, I used to dream about it, was the Ultimate Ninja game, because I fucking loved ninjas when I was a little kid. Loved ninjas. And this game existed when I was 6 years old and 7 years old. Damn, it would have been... It's all I would have thought about. It's all I would have talked about. So in that respect, I feel like I almost owe it to the people that made it. They made my dream game from 25 years ago. That I owe it to them to put down money on what would have been the dream.
Isn't Shinobi your dream?
No, because that
Ninja
was...
Gaiden?
I wanted something that was... They were more action games that had ninjas in them. I wanted a game that... This is a game where you play as a ninja. It's a stealth game. You feel like a ninja. You don't feel like a dude in a ninja outfit killing everyone, running through, jumping over platforms, even though all the things I've just said are things that you do in the game. Mm. You feel like you're a stealthy assassin. And the stealth mechanics are magnificent. Going into them now would be boring, but you can see straight away there's all these really clever stuff that they've done. I think I've talked myself into getting it. I think I'm going to get it. I'll
do the trial. I mean, I wasn't massively impressed with Shank, so...
it feels like a lot better game than Shank.
Well, I mean, I'm definitely going to try the trial for sure. My number 5 is that right?
Yep.
My number 5 is Resident Evil 6. I haven't played it again this week, but I didn't really cover much last week, so I'll go into a bit more detail about the other two campaigns. I've already spoken about the one that's sort of traditional Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm. That was the Leon campaign, right?
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
The second one is Chris Redfield's campaign, and it's me and the guy were just laughing because the introductory cutscene is ludicrous in the way that Resident Evil does. I mean, it's just so willfully stupid, and so if you think that they don't know what they're doing, you're daft, because they love that kind. I mean, you basically, it's the classic scene that you've seen in a million cop movies. You find Chris Redfield in this bar in some hellhole, and he's drunk, and he's also got amnesia, and some guy comes back, the new young kid, to convince him to come back, and I mean, he's a mess. He's pissed. and he's properly an amnesiac. He can't remember anything. And within the space of about 10 hours in the game, he's then commanding his squad searching for UN aid workers in China. And it's just like, it's so daft. The gameplay is much more like Resident Evil 5, which is going to split people down the middle. It's an action game. It's a sort of it's a very good one. And the problems that I had with Resident Evil 5 primarily were that they kept dumping you in a massive area and you had to clean out all the zombies and then move on, and that just got really boring. And the fact that they just gave you non-stop ammunition. And in this, across all 3 campaigns, there's hardly any ammunition. So you, whenever, whether it's a haunted house moment in this or some guy's running at you, you have to take ammunition into account when you're dealing with it. And I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it's not Resident Evil, but as far as third-person action thrillers go, it was fun. And it's again, as I said last week, it's a gorgeous-looking game. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the most expensive game that Capcom have ever made. But there's that, and then the third campaign is Jake Muller. Who's the son of Albert Wesker, and say what you like about the guys that write Resi, they're so good at creating shitheads, because this guy is such a shithead. You're sitting there like, I'm like, you dick. He's the son of Albert Wesker, and he's basically the Messiah because he's got these C virus antibodies in him. Right. And they, the government know, and they send this agent, and they're like, you've got to do. And he's just a dick. He wants money, and he's like, well, he's just like, they're so good at just painting people who you fucking hate. But he's the hero, and there's sort of some kind of suggestion that he's got superhuman powers or something. But it was the most enigmatic of the 3, because this one kind of you're in a war-torn Eastern European village. And you're trying to escape from there. And for the first hour, it's primarily just puzzles. So the first one, Resident Evil horror, second one, action, and the third one, it was all about solving these puzzles to get around this ridge, unlocking this, lifting the ladder, classic Resident Evil stuff. So it'd be interesting to see when the game comes out how I know the plots entwine and whatnot, but I can't imagine they're going to keep those set gameplay things. I think they're going to drift in and out of each other.
Right.
But yeah, it's promising. I was surprised at how different they felt, despite the fact that they all play exactly the same. Also, QTEs are very good. There's not a lot of QTEs, but I played quite a few. They're all circles spinning, so a circle will be spinning, but there'll always be a dial there. It's so hard to explain. There's just a lot more to it. So when there's one of those bits where you have to hammer a button loads to do something, and it fills up the bar, you'll always be trying to beat a timer that's spinning around in front of it, so it adds a little frisson of like urgency to it. And when the normal QTEs, you normally have to stop the dial in a specific area, so it's quite hard to describe, but it's good. I mean, as I said last week, it's shaping up really nicely. I don't think Resident Evil nuts from back in the day are going to appreciate it, because there's a lot of action in it, but I thought it was good. It looks like a big blockbuster dumbass Resi game, and I'm ready for it. I'm up for it.
Yeah, I am. Very much so. The only one I've ever been disappointed by was 5.
Same here.
Loved the other 4. Like Code Veronica. I mean, there's some of the spin-offs are shit, obviously, a lot of them, but don't even count them. Yeah, I've got no reason or any concerns. I think it's going to be good.
I think it's going to. It could potentially be very good. I'm just interested to see what they do, whether they mix it up, and if they stay on each track and stuff. But yeah, impressed. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, even like good chunks of Resi 5 were good. It just kind of got boring, and then more and more boring. And ended up running out of steam.
It was a lot of it was monotonous.
Yeah.
But then the final boss fight, which just for no reason took place in a volcano, and you're just like. There's still a little bit of that stupid dumbass DNA that everyone loves, and this looks to have that same kind of thing. So I'm sure it'll be good.
That dumbass shit.
Yeah.
Number 4 for me is NHL 13. You don't really play much of the hockey games, do you?
I play them every year, but I don't. They're not things that I keep going back to.
I think I've played hockey games for years now, years and years and years. And I don't really know anything about ice hockey. It doesn't seem like the hardest sport in the world to follow compared to something like American football, which is almost impenetrable unless you really put in the time.
Yeah.
But when I play the NHL games, it's unlike something like FIFA or Pro Evo, where I know so much about the sport that I can really pick holes in what they're doing in terms of even like stuff like animations or little incidental things that would happen on the pitch. I go, wow, that doesn't really work. I can't really tell if stuff like that in NHL is the case or not. However, in this new one, they've redone the physics engine for the skating, and it does really seem to have made a huge amount of difference in terms of making it feel more realistic and more believable. And I mean, it just looks fantastic. It almost looks real to a point at times, because the movement is so good and the way they collide is so good. And like some of the checks, so you'll like clip a guy's leg and then he'll spin exactly the way he would and slide along the ice and bump into the boards, I guess you call them. Yeah. And then it's still just that fast, relentless, attacking gameplay that it always has been, which I guess is what the sport's like as well. Just end-to-end, quick passing movements, loads of shots, loads of saves. Always been great fun. Still is great fun. There's all sorts of modes, like online career modes and things in there, which are really impressive sounding. I haven't had a chance to test them yet, but it just seems that it just goes from strength to strength, that series, and I'm not knowledgeable enough about the sport to know exactly how good replication it is, but they've always been great fun video games for nearly 20 years. I think they've been going.
I mean, NHL games, I play them every year and I enjoy them, but I always get to the same point where I get what I think is good enough and then go online and get fucking
spanked.
Creamed. Yeah, I mean, just absolutely relentlessly. It's worse than FIFA, because, I mean, I guess it's because, again, I mean, although there's not a lot to understand about hockey as a sport, the way that you have to deal with things, the way that just the flow of the play takes some getting used to, and I kind of play it like a football game, which is probably why I get decked all the time. But yeah, I appreciate the craftsmanship always. Those games are always superbly made. And yeah, they've progressively got better, very much like FIFA. Yeah.
NHL, they don't mess about in that series. That's been their mainstay for a long time.
Yeah, indeed. What was that?
That was my 4.
My number 4 was Walking Dead Part 3, so we've done that. It's cool. Great. Play it.
Yep, definitely do that thing. My number 3 is Darksiders 2. Oh, yeah. Still plugging away. And it's just, I'm not feeling it, mate. I'm just not feeling it.
Where are you? Where are you up to?
A bit further than I was last time.
Have
still
you
not
got to
these
the portals?
Portals or whatever you're talking about. But I looked at my clock and I think I'm over 5 hours in, and I'm like, it's a long time to play a game that you're not really enjoying, waiting for it to get good.
What are you not enjoying about it? It's just fun. I'm surprised. I mean, you can think it's mediocre.
The boss fight that was wank.
Which boss fight?
One where like bombs drop down and you have to get them and throw them, but then they explode in your hand, and then monsters come out of the boss. It just wasn't very good. And then I go, okay, I've done all of this. I've got like the story's coming together. I want to know. I feel like I've got past this chunk of the game. It feels like an Act 1 type of deal. And so I go and get this cutscene, and it's just like, it was just fucking gibberish. I was like, I don't know what the hell any of you people are talking about. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. What are you talking about? It's just rubbish. And I'm like, well, okay, well, I've got to go and do this thing now, but I don't know why. And for me, that's when I play games like that, I've said it, but talked about it before, I do need to know what I'm doing, and I do need to have some sort of sense of place, and I really felt that in the first game, which I didn't like for other reasons, and this just is really laying me down. I'm like, I don't want to do all this shit if I don't know why I'm doing it, and the loot just seems pointless, because it's just like, we keep picking up stuff all the time, and the enemies are getting tougher, so it doesn't seem to be making any difference, and I'm constantly picking up new sides, but it don't seem any difference to any of the ones that I had before. I'm just getting frustrated with it, to be honest. I'm just not feeling it, and when you're playing a game you're not feeling, you're trying to force yourself to like it, but
yeah, are you actually going to bail on it now?
No. I'm going to stick to till I get to these fucking portals or whatever.
Okay, but I mean, the thing that's so great about that moment is that it feels like such a transition. The game transitions into something else, but I derive so much pleasure about trying to imagine why that happened. What led them to just go completely off the rails like this? I didn't understand. I mean, because honestly, it goes from one thing, and it doesn't go completely. It's not like Saints Row the Third at the end, where you're walking around as a toilet in a computer mainframe and all that stuff. But I was just like, it felt like it just took flight after that moment, and I was like, it felt like here's the game that we feel we should make. Oh, here's the game we wanted to make, and it just that's how I responded to it. But if you're not feeling it at this point, I was still entertained before that point, non-stop. But then again, I know what you've said many times, that if you're not 100% aware of what you're doing, then there's a problem.
Yeah, which is, talking about Sleeping Dogs again, a game that is, equally as borrowing in its ideas and, not original, you could call it, but always knew what I was doing, knew who the characters were to a point, give or take here or there, understood my little man's motivations. They don't need to be particularly complex or even that well written. I just need to know, and then I can kind of put myself into the game a bit more. When I actively don't know and I'm confused the whole time, I just get pulled out of it, and it snaps the verisimilitude, to use an irritating word.
Yeah.
But hey, I'll stick with it. I will stick with it because I want to. I want to derive the pleasure out of it that you seem to have it. And
I don't think
the first few hours. Well, to be fair, the first 2 hours I really loved. So I just 2 temples in a row. I just felt like I was exactly like Darksiders 1, going through the motions. The puzzles weren't even, and I'm thick with puzzles, as we talked about before, but they weren't even like making me think. I was just like A, B, C. Okay, I just have to do it. It's just as boring as just like climbing a ladder or pulling a switch. But I'll stick with it.
Okay, I don't think
I want to like it.
I don't think you will, to be honest. Because let us know what you reckon. But I think you sound like you should probably bail on it. But I'd be interested to know if you view the transition.
I'm going to give it one more good heavy sesh.
All right.
And if it doesn't work, then I'll bail.
Fair enough. All right, okay, my number 3 is Tekken Tag Tournament 2. We've spoken about it. If you're a Tekken fan, essential. Yes. Everyone else, that tutorial, I do think is a good place to start if you're interested, because it does tell you everything, and it's rare that you get that. There's no fighting games that tell you absolutely everything, so that you're never surprised by anything. It's pretty brutal. That's the downside, and it stressed me the fuck out like you wouldn't believe. And I was just like, I'm never playing this fucking game again. I was like properly like one step away from smashing my pad, but. Once you get used to it, it's there's so much content, and all the characters in there, and there's characters that are sort of from old Tekkens and stuff. It's very, very good.
The customization stuff's brilliant.
That's wicked as well. Yeah,
so funny.
Using those. Did you do the Christmas stage?
Yeah, superb.
The fucking music and just honestly, just so.
I love the boat stage with the fucking gabba.
Yeah, I don't recall there ever being levels as entertaining as those. I don't remember, because Street Fighter funny levels, Mortal Kombat, not so much. But the levels, the backgrounds are really. But I highly recommended.
I want to say I haven't seen the Snoop level. Is that like a DLC thing?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah.
One thing I was going to quickly say about that: if you were from the Tekken age of PlayStation, used to play with your mates at uni, or if you're younger than that, whatever. And you're on Love Film or something like that, well worth sticking this on there for one weekend with your mates and a few beers, because it does feel like kicking back to the old school a little bit. You'll have great fun, and if you're playing with people of the same level, you don't need to worry about learning or anything, because it's still that same control system. You have great fun. Really, you don't need to buy it. I shouldn't say stuff like that because it's mean on the developers, but it's true.
I suppose you're right. That's the best way to play any fighting game is, on a weekend with a bunch of mates. But I think, the amount of content and stuff. It's the best Tekken game for probably a decade, I reckon. Yeah.
It's important, I think, to remember that everything to do with fighting games these days is all about tournaments and hardcore play and learning and strategies and everything like that. All that stuff's great, but it's good to remember how fucking fun they are as well. If you're just with your mates and you're just playing together and you're not trying to be a tournament player, because we're kind of losing that a little bit in fighting games. And it's not the games themselves; it's just the scene around it. Nothing wrong with that scene, but yeah, good to remember that. My number 2 is a game called Super Hexagon. Have you heard of this game?
I've seen people talking about it non-stop. What the fuck is it?
It is an iOS game from the guy that made. Have you heard that game VVVVV?
Yes, don't know what that is either.
Yeah, that's like a real 8-bit style 2D platformer that I am ashamed to say I've never played, but it's supposed to be like really mean and hard in a really cool way. This is an iOS game by the same guy. It's called Terry Kavanagh, and basically there's a hexagon in the middle of the screen, and you can move a little triangle around it, and then this fucking assault of maze pieces comes at you constantly with little gaps, and you have to press left or right on the screen to get your little triangle through the gaps. That's the game. It's unbelievably difficult. The whole thing's soundtracked by this amazing, like, chip-tuned, filthy house soundtrack, just like constant beats, wicked. And I kind of liken it almost to a martial art. It's so hard at first that you think, I'll never be able to do it, but there's a little twang in the back of your head that says, I know I'm going to get better. If I keep playing it, I'm going to get better. And it has this really, like, retro, almost like, could you imagine if Matthew Lillard in Hackers was playing a game on his phone? It would be this game. It's like really retro 2D Tron-style graphics. It has like a woman's voice. It's like, game over, again. And every time you die, it's instant restart. And she's like, again. And banging tunes, really, really hard. It's difficult to describe, but it's only 69p. It's fucking wicked. So good.
I for some reason, I got it into my head that this was a PC game.
No, iOS. So well suited to the device. Get it. You will love this game.
Okay. I've already forgotten the title.
Super Hexagon.
Super Hexagon.
It is. It's not a shoot 'em up, but it is close in spirit to the shoot 'em up games that you love. In terms of you have to be in the moment, and it's all about the flow and analysing space quickly. You know, seeing things, everything coming towards you, and your brain quickly has to break down, like instantly, has to break down the space. And the second you hesitate, you're fucked. You're hitting the wall.
Shit. Okay.
You will like this game, mate.
Okay. Super Hexagon.
Yeah. Everybody get it.
Okay. Everybody work.
Everybody
work. There's a reference for absolutely nobody. My number 2. That was your number 2, right?
Yes.
Okay. Right. My number 2 is Battlefield 3.
Okay. I want to hear now. I want to hear what's good about Armored Kill.
Armored Kill came out today. I downloaded it. I've spent the majority of the day playing it, and it's great. It's classic dice. It's fantastic. What did you expect? They've got the thing that's most amazing is they've got the balance. It's one of those things that it's just right straight out of the box. One thing that's over all the Armored Kill maps. There's this.
So quickly explain to people in case they don't know what this packet is all about.
It's big maps, and it's all vehicle orientated. The biggest map in Battlefield history is one of them. I think it's the Alborz Mountain, something like that. But yeah, it's all vehicle based, all air combat and stuff. It's the classic Battlefield. It seems like the natural comeback after close quarters. But in terms of gameplay changes, there's this sort of a gunship which on Rush. The attackers always have, and on Conquest, when you capture one particular point and there's a little icon next to it with a plane, they get access to that plane, and you can spawn in it and jump out of it, but it's just the most devastating thing. And the beauty of it is that it brings out the best in the game, because if you aren't completely dedicated to taking that thing down quickly, it will decimate your whole team. But at the same time, one thing that I kept finding is that everybody has like anti-air rockets, so if a tank rolls up in front of you, you're fucked. And that kept happening. So it's all about communication, sort of playing as a squad, coordinating together. Battlefield, it's the game incarnate, but it's
amazing moments, memorable moments.
I ran the new mode is called Tank Superiority.
Oh yeah, what is that quickly?
That's basically, there's one objective point and you have to capture it, and everyone's got tanks.
Right.
So you can stand back and try and sort of pummel the area. There's loads of different strategies, and it was a joy seeing people flanking and like people trying to find places to perch where they could just pummel the area. I mean, it was just an absolute joy. But I was playing that. Guy took my tank out. I leapt out just before he took it out, and he came flying over this hill, and I ran underneath because he was just sort of creeping over this hill, and I just fired a rocket and it took it out in one hit, and he sort of did this. The tank flipped over. It does no justice, that explanation, but that was. I was going, did you fucking see that? And no one saw it. The only thing is that's bad about it, not bad, but for the first time I've never felt, I play on Xbox, and I've never thought, I wish I was playing on PC, but the maps... I was
just about to ask you about that, weirdly.
They're so huge.
Yeah.
They're so huge. I mean, you kind of adapt to it after a while, but there are moments where you're like, fuck, I am in the middle of nowhere, and it's going to take me 2 to 3 minutes to run to the next point. But you know that started to happen less and less as I played it, as the day went on.
Right.
Because you start to learn where the vehicles spawn, and you sort of don't turn down a lift when it's there and stuff. The maps are incredibly well designed. We've tried them all on Rush and on Conquest, and you know we were expecting the best, and that's what we got. It's just, you know. It's great. They could, you know, it's brilliant. And as I said, it's come out of the box completely right. There's no like that's overpowered, that feels wrong. This is this. Blah, blah, blah. There's nothing that I felt they should change. And we've tried all modes across all maps, and it's just like they've fucking smashed it. They've smashed it. They've enriched the game, and you know all these little changes that they've implemented are just they're just right. They feel right, but only in the context of Armored Kill. You know, you implement them on the maps that already exist, it wouldn't work. But I kind of like this. I like. What do you feel like tonight? Bit of Close Quarters, no. Bit of Armored Kill, yeah. It's different, but not quite. Mm-hmm. But man, I mean, it's just. I've been playing it all day.
Yeah.
And that's not like because I love Battlefield so much that I could have taken the day off just to do that, but it's because it's just been marvellous. And you know, the only thing that I will say is that the maps are so huge, adapting to there not being enough players. I mean, if there were 64 players, I think I'd be in heaven, but I don't play games on PC, so this is the first time I've thought, maybe I'll pick up a cheap PC and play on PC. But no, it's
but a cheap PC wouldn't run it, would it?
No, exactly. But you know, it's been great. But if you're someone who plays on your own, the learning curve is far steeper because you have to be in. But we did something today. The only reason we stopped these guys from taking the last objective on Rush is because we were non-stop talking to each other, and that's why Battlefield's great. It's great.
Yeah, if you're playing on your own, you might as well play something else. To be honest.
Yeah, it doesn't really work alone, unfortunately.
No.
It can do, but not, you know, by accident. Armored Kill.
Yeah, I'm excited and annoyed that I didn't get to play it, but just the way it goes. Didn't realise I'd have to download over 3 gigs worth of files, but that's just the way it is.
I wonder how big I'd like to click on how much.
Armored Kill itself is 1.56, but there was 2 big updates before that. Which
over the course of, Battlefield itself and all the additional stuff on the hard drive.
Shitloads.
You'd need an extra hard drive just for that.
Yeah, back in the old days you would.
Yeah, you would. True.
So I think our number ones are probably the same.
Oh, yeah.
Rock Band Blitz.
Yeah.
You said last week that it was really good, and you were right.
Yeah.
Amazing game. Amazing. I mean, if you don't know what it is, it's kind of like harmonics going back to their old school style of frequency and amplitude. Tracks going down the screen. You move between them with the shoulder buttons, and then 2 note bits on each track. So you've got one track's the vocals, one's the drums, one's the guitar, one's the bass, one's keyboard. Same as Rock Band, but everything's on the controller, and only two notes left and right per track. So you basically it's kind of like tapping on a table, and you build the song like that. And instead of failing a song or anything like that, it's all about comboing together stuff and building really high scores, but it captures that same sense of being inside a song and making me appreciate how a song is constructed exactly the same way as their games have always done, which has always been something that's blown me away about their stuff. It's given me such a greater appreciation for even songs that I didn't like in the past. It's made me like songs that I didn't like in the past, and the fact that it pulls in all your DLC as well is phenomenal. Some people have maligned the game for saying that it's encouraging you to spend more on DLC, and it's like, well, yeah, it is, but in the nicest possible way. It just makes me want to buy more DLC and to hear more songs and to play them, and I don't have to haul out an entire band's worth of plastic kit to do so. And I already had a ton of Rock Band songs, so playing through them again has been an absolute joy. The only downside to the game is that I don't understand how you are getting the scores that you're getting. I'm beating everybody else that I know by a distance, smashing them, and you are just miles ahead of me to the point, but I don't even understand physically how you're doing it, and that's
how much have you played it?
I've played it a lot, mate. I've done all the songs in the game. I've done all my DLC songs, which is at least another 30. Yeah, no, I played it a lot, but like I say, it's not like I'm struggling. I'm 5-starring every song. I'm smashing everybody else on my leaderboard. Good, people who are much better than me at other normal Rock Band. But for some reason, you seem to be inside the game.
Yeah, it just clicked for me because at first I wasn't even sure if I liked it. I was like, this doesn't really work for me. Why does it, And then it just clicked. And I get so much pleasure. I've done it a few times today, and I did it a few times yesterday, where you look at a song, you think to yourself, I know that's got a vocal that goes on for ages, and I know that's you think about how the tools that you're going to use, the multipliers and such. And it's so rewarding when a gold star pops up and you're like, that's because I figured that shit out.
Yeah, we should say you can choose up to 3 power-ups.
Yeah, so you can...
COD-style perks, really.
Exactly, and they make sense. You can't develop a strategy as such because some perks... So, for example, one of them, you can deploy it and it will just do the track for you. That works on some songs, but not others, because they all work. That's what I mean. There's several different ways to tackle each song, but sitting there and considering it beforehand, and then sort of, the equivalent of putting your battle figures and go to war and see what happens. It's like that. It's like I'm going to sort of throw my chips down, and it's so rewarding when you get it right. I mean, there's a song that I thought I'd never get a gold 5 stars on, and today I thought maybe I'll try that. Mix things up a little bit. And it's fucking great. But I'm surprised because it was something that I wasn't doing particularly well at, and then it just clicked for me, and ever since then I've been like, I'm eighth in the world on 2 songs, I think. So
Yeah, it's very frustrating for me, especially when I thought that I was better than you at it because I was beating all your songs on the campaign mode, but you obviously just done them once.
Yeah, I've gone back since and
smashed all my scores, I'm sure.
Yeah, just
yeah, fantastic.
No, but I don't know what to say. I mean, it's just have you played with all of the little multipliers and stuff?
What?
Have you used all the stuff? Have you seen how different things work?
This is what I was struggling with when I started experimenting. My scores went down quite a lot from where I was. So I was like, now I'm getting annoyed. It's like when you change your loadout on Call of Duty and you start getting no kills. Probably if you persevere, it might improve your overall game, but in the short term, it's frustrating. And it was getting late by that point, and I just kind of wanted to go back to knowing what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I feel like I need to see. It's one of those situations where I need to see someone playing it how I need to play it.
That's the. I mean, I've said to you, it's like I am on a track for a maximum of 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Because as soon as there's a gap, even if it's for a split second, somewhere else there's something else you could be doing.
Only towards the back end of my session did I learn that, because it's all about you stay on the track and you level up the track, and then you get through a gate.
Yeah.
And then your tracks stay leveled up, and if you can level up enough tracks before you hit the gate, your overall level stays higher. That probably sounds confusing, but it's bloody confusing to try and work the game out for the first few hours.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It only just clicked with me that you didn't have to stay on the track to level it up. You could do it a bit and then return to it, and it didn't punish you, does it?
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, and again, yeah, it doesn't explain itself very well at all. So, like, if there's a second-long gap in a chart that you're playing, move left, move back. I mean, the tiniest incremental bits to try and build each one up. But that's why it gives me a headache, because I'm just constantly zapping around. But I think it's as good as any game they've ever made.
Yeah, I definitely think that as well.
I just hope that it's totally Rock Band. It looks Rock Band. They've got the Rock Band icons and the artwork and stuff like that. It's Rock Band through and through. But I hope I'd love to see them bring out like a frequency track pack or something like that. Although it wouldn't really work, because each track represents an instrument. And,
yeah.
I'd love to sort of place it a bit more electronica, because it's relentless rock music and pop music. I'd love a bit more sort of variety there. So I hope they do that. But
I like that as well. It might be tough, but they do have the keyboard thing.
Yeah.
But I've got Baba O'Reilly by The Who though, and it doesn't have the keyboard track.
That pissed me off. I was playing that the other day, and I was like, I'm listening to the keyboard going, and I'm just sitting here twiddling my thumbs waiting for the guitars to start. I was like, bollocks.
Really? Yes.
Unless there's an
DLC
updated
stuff's a bit.
Oh, sorry, go on. I remember you saying that. It's something.
Yeah, some of the DLC stuff just feels a bit like it's been done by the intern or something. It was just the same with some of the note tracks in Rock Band proper. Some of them are great. The Oasis stuff that we've been battling on is really good, but yeah, a couple of tunes just doesn't really matter. Yeah, battling. I've been battling. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's actually matching the music very well. It just kind of feels like, oh, we'll just do it quickly and then we can go home. But I'm not hating. And it's not stuff I've had to pay out for. It's stuff I've already bought, so no problems, no beef, all love.
Regardless if you use it, even if you were just buying it as an, I mean, there's 25 tracks for 1,200. If you were to buy them individually, it would be a lot more than that, and you get this fucking belting game with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna buy more tracks from the Rock Band.
Yeah,
store.
I will as well.
It is just great, and
I'll be playing it for a long time.
Yeah, me too. And I wish I was playing it right now, so I might have a go in a minute.
Oh, straight before bed, nightmare.
No, that's all right. I can hack it.
Nice. Well, I guess that's it. Yeah, there's loads of good games we've covered this week. And then it's only going to get better, I think, going on because it's Action Stations time.
Big stuff, yeah.
That's right. So thank you very much for listening. As I said before, if you've got any suggestions for any old random shit or play anything, stick it on the Facebook page. We'd love to hear from you. Check us out there. Check us out on Twitter. Check us out at thefiniteplaylist.com. Don't forget about Stitcher. You can't forget about Stitcher. And we'll see you next week. So we out. We're going to Sizzler. Peace.
Maybe he's wondering why you shoot a man before throwing him out of a plane.
Shoot a man.
I'm going to find out what caused Forrest's death. It looks like he was killed by a crow or something.
Where brevity is paramount. Allegedly.
Hello and welcome to episode 28 of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name is Chet Roivers. With me, as usual, is John Denton.
What up?
Over the next 40 minutes or so, John and I are going to take it in turns to go through the 10 games we've played over the course of the past week, and we're going to go from 10 to 1. Number ones are the games we've been playing the most, 10 the least. You know the deal, John. Number 10.
And my number 10's a bit of a cop-out. It's Batters, which I'd all primed and was ready to play Armored Kill. Today we're recording a Tuesday. And 183 meg download, which took an hour, 1.4 gig download, which took about 45 minutes, and then just as when I think I'm going to get in with about half an hour to spare to get one game in, 1.56 gig download. Gutted. So it's not really a number 10, but what can I do? Because it was literally pre-pod. So
True that.
Yeah, sorry, but I'm sure you'll have plenty to say on it later.
I will. Okay, my number 10 is Silent Hill Downpour. I only played it for a few minutes. I was at a friend's house and he's just spent an obscene amount of money on a 3D home cinema system, and he was banging on about how great it looks in 3D. Hey?
I just said, oh really?
Oh right, yeah. And an obscene amount of money. It's huge. It's like a 50-inch screen. But he was just banging on about how great the 3D gaming was. So I played sort of 5-10 minutes of Silent Hill Downpour. I didn't really notice it. It was so subtle that I couldn't notice it until I was, I put the glasses on, and he was like, "That's why it's so great. You get dragged more into it because it's so subtle." And I was like, I don't really see it. And then you start to notice little things start coming out at you a little bit. It's fine. It's not worth. I mean, he was trying to justify the fact that he just spent a stupid amount of money. But it was interesting. I guess it looked nice. Whatever. The game's good.
The game. And sometimes tag stuff confuses stuff for me and overcomplicates it. This doesn't seem to do it. Very funny as well. Very funny game.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it a lot.
It's my number 3, but I might as well just get it out of the way. At first it really wound me up because I haven't played a Tekken game. Well, no, I played the last one, but Tekken's such a specific thing. It's so different from all other fighting games that it took me a while to adapt to it. And I was properly raging about it. So I mean, I was genuinely stressing out at first. But once I adapted, it was fine, and I think it is pretty great. I mean, I think that it plays to Tekken maniacs the most. It's fan service through and through. Yeah,
it's the greatest hits, I've called it in things I've written about it.
And I like the fact that they've cut all the extra stuff. They've cut that stupid single player sort of Streets of Rage style beat 'em up. And it's just fighting. Everything's fighting. It's got all some of the old modes like time attack and all that stuff. But as the tutorial is really interesting. Did you do the whole thing?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I can't remember what it was called. Fight Lab, I think it was.
Oh, yeah, Fight Lab.
It's so difficult, but it tells you absolutely everything. So when you finally do it, you're like, I'm not going to get surprised by anybody. You know, it's so good to be taught something that extensively that it's good. You're like, I know exactly what I'm doing. If I lose, I know why. And that's really effective. But it's very difficult, and it's really old school the way that if you don't do a bit at the end of a chapter, it will boot you back and you have to do everything again. It's like it's a throwback in how difficult it is. And I'm interested to see how many people who haven't played a Tekken game before would stick with it, because it is difficult, the tutorial.
I don't think people who haven't played Tekken games are going to start now. I just think I can't see kids picking it up, 12-year-old kids. I just don't see the appeal. I think it's for the people that have grown up with Tekken and still play fighting games. I think that's who it's for.
I think fans of Tekken will be as thrilled by it as Mortal Kombat guys were about the reboot.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah,
weird that they expect you to buy levels, but it gets ridiculously hard straight away. So I can't imagine that anybody. I mean, if you like to punish yourself and you go to the trouble of completing it, then fair enough. But the majority of people, why would they bother?
Yeah.
But it's a good game. Worth a download.
It's good. It's free, isn't it? Yeah,
indeed.
Check it out.
Right, my number 9 is Hero Academy on the iPhone.
You're still back on it?
No. A friend of mine has started listening to the podcast, but he's listening to one episode every 6 years, so he's only on like episode 3 when we were still talking about it.
I kept banging on about Hero Academy. Yeah.
So he said, I'll download it and we'll have a game. And I'm like, yeah, fuck it, go on. We played 8-10 turns each, and he sent me a text saying, this is rubbish, should we just stop? And I just said, yeah. And there's still fundamental problems. I think there's systems there for the sake of it. I don't understand Hero Academy, and it should be a game that I love. But again, it still doesn't appeal.
It's a game that, considering how little money I paid for it and the amount of time that I enjoyed spending on it, I can't really say much bad about it. I could pick holes in it, maybe, if I spent more time with it, and maybe the balance isn't as good as I thought it was initially, or maybe I had a bit too much faith in developers when they kind of said that the initial team that you get are as strong as the DLC teams and things like that. But for what was essentially no money, the equivalent of in grander scheme of things. Yeah, I mean, I had great fun. I played like good 20, 30, 40 games on it or something.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I can't hate on them.
Genuine.
So that was your number 9. Yeah, my number 8 is Tekken Tag Tournament 2 again. I think the embargo's dropped now, so we can talk about it in the official review capacity. It seems to be that all the scores out there on the internet seem to be united around the 8 mark, which is it's in fact what I gave it, and that seems to be bang on for me. I talked about it at length, really, in the last 2 episodes, which is probably something I shouldn't have done, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Very, very good for me. The best Tekken. The tag mechanics are fun, but they don't spoil them. Very good point.
But then again, I think it's worth if you want to put the time in and you are patient. I think newcomers can come to it. But I am interested to see because it really does. It did feel quite oppressive. I persevered because I was reviewing it, but it'd be interesting. The tag assault stuff's great, where you join the combos. I mean, it's a staple of any kind of beat 'em up now. But it works really well, and I liked experimenting a bit and trying different characters whose combo worked best with who. But yeah, it's the best Tekken game I reckon since 3, because it went off on a bit of a 4 and 5 and 6 their heart wasn't in it, and that's why they threw in all those stupid extra things. But yeah, very good. If you're a Tekken fan, you will fucking love it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Have you tried playing it online?
Briefly, yeah. I mean, the netcode looks fine.
Does it? Yeah.
I mean, I got my...
Because all the modes and the sort of surrounding stuff's really impressive.
What different modes were you... online?
Well, just I think you can have clans, and it has a stat tracking service online, the WTF. I mentioned it last week.
Yeah.
And they're just really going all out to do online fighting the way it should be done, I think. And, fair play to them for that.
Yeah. But no, it's hard. Not very easy to recommend to newcomers. But yeah, if it's a great Tekken game for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, what was that?
That's my 8.
Okay, right. My number 8 is Avatar karting on the Xbox 360.
Right. Every time you say Avatar something, I keep thinking it's going to be little blue people from the fucking film.
This was requested to us via our Facebook page. Presumably because it's quite shit, but it's quite shit in quite a sort of ordinary way. It's the bare minimum of what you'd expect. It's set in a ghost town because it's very basic. You can see the technology is primitive, but the carts go around in a track. It's the way I thought about it is. It's like, think of Mario Kart, but there's no power-ups. There's a boost which you can't use in the free trial. But if you were babysitting a couple of 6-year-olds, it would entertain them for long enough. Underrated, blah blah.
Yeah, I still haven't played that game.
You should.
Well, I guess I will. I'd like to. Yeah, I'd like to. That's what I'll say.
Genuine.
3D. I mean, you and I listened to fucking Mark Como bang on about it for however long, 2 years or whatever it is. So even talking about it, I feel like I'm going over old ground. Yeah. But in some games, I think it's way more beneficial with 3D than almost any film. Stuff like Mario 3D Land and seemingly first-party Nintendo stuff on the 3DS that isn't the new Mario. Not that I've played that. Actually has some functional and clever use for 3D, but everything else seems to be a bit superfluous.
It didn't make any sense to me. I was like, fine, that's nice, I'm glad you're digging it, but it's not something...
Did you have to wear glasses?
Yeah, and
I don't want to be doing that.
He was bragging about how subtle it was, and I was like, well, yeah, I suppose that's better than it being in your face for no reason, but yeah, I don't really understand it.
Yeah. Although, I mean, Prometheus was quite subtle, that was going back to films, and it kind of worked like that, but then again, I haven't seen the 2D print. I saw 2D Avengers, and that was fine. Yeah. I mean, it was awesome.
Genuine.
Yeah. My number 9 is I've just written hard game down on my list. That game you talked about last week, the world's hardest game.
World's hardest game. Yeah,
world's hardest game. I downloaded it. It's pretty fun, isn't it? It's pretty hard.
Yeah.
Like a little WarioWare, were not quite as charming, but it appeared to be free. And yeah, I thought it was fine. I played it for like 5-10 minutes.
Weren't you impressed by how good the controls were so effective, and it worked so well, considering it was a touchscreen game?
I was impressed. Maybe I was going in expecting to be impressed after having heard you talk about it, but I couldn't really handle that soundbite that plays when you lose. She said I wouldn't be able to. I can't hack stuff like that.
It's so dry.
Fuck off. So I couldn't handle that, especially as it's so difficult. But I can see why people like it. It's good.
Yeah, I agree. I take it you didn't buy the extra...
No, I couldn't get through. Like you said, I couldn't get past like a certain level. I can't remember if this was right after the last week's pod. But, yeah.
It's so